Erik, it's nearly 2 years since I came in here with to interview you last. Would you say you're on track in terms of how you thought it would be and what these 2 years have been like?
You mentioned 2 years ago, It
was a difficult time at the time.
It was a difficult start.
Yeah, it was.
Sure, but then I think we had a great season. We played, I think, very good football, very proactive football. We went into 2 finals. We won 1 final. We were third in the league. Also in Europe, we had some decent results, like we beat Barcelona.
Yeah.
So there we were on that time in the summer, right on track, as you call it.
Yeah.
But then, of course, this season, that's not the way we wanted that it will go. That is also clear.
Let's go back to the start of this season, and obviously it was quite positive. Champions League, get to 2 finals, win a trophy. Why has this club struggled in recruitment to get the players that the manager wants for the last 10 years? Not just with you, but for the last 10 years. When you first came, you wanted Frankie de Jong, and you didn't get Frankie de Jong. He was your one player you wanted. Why has this club struggled to get those players in?
So it's always difficult to say about 10 years, and would be good to do research. But yeah, I think this club can only have outstanding players. That's true, because you are the expectations are so high. Manchester United is the biggest, or maybe second, third biggest club in the world, with worldwide the most, the highest fan base. So expectations will always be there. Everyone has an opinion about Manchester United, and it can only be that they're outstanding players, and that is what are outstanding players? Yeah, players who has all the skill set, and that is the physical, but especially also the mental skill set they need to perform, to contribute, because we have to win every game, and there's. That will be always the expectation around every game from us. So you can only fulfill that expectation when you have those outstanding players. But obviously, we, as you said, in the last decade, but also in the period, we couldn't always get the players we wanted. But then you have to build, and then you have to you have to accept that you get talents in instead of already the players who are already proved it in the past. And we have had some choices made with talents like Rasmus Højlund, and I can see a striker who already proved it, who we wanted to sign, but we couldn't get him. And then we went to Rasmus, but with Rasmus he's a talent.
You're talking about Harry Kane there.
Yeah, but it's not. But Harry Kane, you get 30 goals, and I think Rasmus, he will get there. But he needs time. It's not fair to assess him same as Harry Kane, because I would never say compare 2 players, because they are very different. But with Rasmus Højlund, we get, I think, the highest potential on the striker position last summer, and we were very happy. We are very happy with him. But also, he needs time to adapt. And we are very pleased that he showed his capacity, his assets, his scoring goals, and he had a very good period where he scored many games after he showed it. But before and also after, he had some physical issues, which is normal for a young player coming up. But of course, it has a negative impact on the team result, and that is what you have to accept. And then you go back to the fans, and then you go back to opinion makers. They don't understand, or they don't want to understand this, but they only see, and that is also so how Manchester United get judged, and they only see the result. But we need time.
So you think, obviously, if Harry Kane comes to Manchester United, it's 30 goals. If Rasmus Højlund comes, a really talented young player, he's done well in the last few months. You think it's now a case of having just a bit of patience? Obviously, you've had injuries this season, but you think that it's on track, but you just need to let the young players grow. Garnacho, Højlund, Kobbie Mainoo. You think it's getting the players back fit and actually letting those young players grow, and it's more of a process because the club have not brought in the complete article, the finished player, if you like.
I think that's the truth, and then you have to accept that the process is going slower, and you can't then expect that you compete for titles in Champions League and in Premier League.
I'm interested because I've spoken a lot about the structure at this club over 10 years in terms of sort of like the sporting structure, but you were previously, you were a sporting director yourself at Utrecht, but you also were at Bayern Munich, where you have such a strong sporting presence at the top of the club. At Ajax, you work very closely with Mark Overmars, with Edwin van der Sar, very strong sporting structure. Can you just explain to me the differences that you found here in the last 2 years between your experiences at those clubs and this club?
I have to say, I worked very good with the leadership in this club, but it's fair to say it's important for a club. And now, of course, we have a change, and I'm optimistic into the future that the changes will be right. But I can't say anything negative about how it was before.
You think that it was the same level of support in terms of recruitment, the football values that were in the club at Manchester United as were at Ajax and Bayern, or?
So we were building, and it will not be fair to judge those people about the current season, because many things were against us, and especially the injuries. But that is the way you get judged, and you have to take that as a club, but also as leadership, as a manager. You have to take that because we have to take that responsibility.
How is it at the moment? Because I mean, obviously the new owners have come in, and obviously, you know, Richard Arnold has left the CEO, John Murtagh has left the sporting director. Last night, the CFO and Patrick Stewart, the interim CEO, left. I think Darren Fletcher's been moved to a different position, and Jason Wilcox has come in. That must create, uncertainty for you in terms of just the stability of the club. You're the manager, obviously, of the team, and you're trying to deliver on the pitch. How has it been the last few months?
Actually, I had the conditions always to work. As from the first moment I came in, I felt the trust. I felt the backing, and from both leadership teams, and so I can't complain about this. So I don't go to do that, but I know, and I feel a little bit to say this and talking every time about the process, because we look and we want to perform today, we want to bring the levels today, and that is everyone in this club, and I feel that here at Carrington, everyone wants to perform and want to satisfy all the fans, and we know what the demands are, we know what the standards are, and the standards are trophies. Bringing trophies in, that is what this club stands for.
I wanted to ask you specifically, because when Jason Wilcox was brought in, the media quote was that he's coming to build a game model. That was his job. That was what was described. And I thought to myself, is that because they don't like the current game model, or they don't think there is a game model here? And game model is whereby the first team plays the same. I mean, Ajax are the very best at this, where they have the same principles running right the way through the club. What did you make of it when that sort of announcement came?
I understand, first place, that is the function, it's the job of a technical director. But in the meantime, there is a game model here. Well, what do you think? Why Alejandro Garnacho and Kobe Mano? How they come up? And that is because that was one of my jobs here, one of my objectives and my task from the previous leadership team, and to bring that in. And that was already going. They were already improving academy, and you can see that they won the FA Cup, Youth Cup. Yeah. They now again they win a cup, and also the teams in the academy they are also now they become champion, and that is a structure, and that was laid out a couple of years ago, and now you see some revenues from it, and the best revenue you see with coming up to bring people, players in the first team like Kobe and like Garnacho.
So you're saying that the game model that's already here in the club, that's producing young players in the last few years, is already a good enough game model to suit Manchester United?
Obviously, when you bring in people, players who are very young and now already are international. They are and not playing for the worst nations, England and Argentina, and they are so in a quite good level to obviously they are one of the best players in this momentum in their nation and for world-class nations, I would say. So they bring in the level required, but we need more from such players, and because football is going very quickly and the developments are going very quickly, so you can't stand still. You have to make new improvements all the time, so that that function, technical director, working on the Kane model, this is the right choice. But there is a base here at Man United, and the proof is there as well by bringing young players.
How have your first few meetings been with the INEOS team and Jason? I played with Jason in 95, 96. How have the meetings been with him in terms of discussing the sort of the style and how the club moves forward? How are those initial meetings gone?
The initial meetings are good, of course, with INEOS. I had several meetings from January on. Jason first came in last week, and now we have to take things quickly on, because the summer is coming, and it's a very important period. Of course, it's coming when you go in another window, and of course we want to make the next step into our squad, and also to make plans and to create an environment that is let's say avoid this year's problems in injuries.
A lot of people that you'll have heard this said about the style of the first team this season. What are you happy with the style of play this season? Forget the results or the goals or whatever. Are you happy with the style of play this season? Because sometimes people say, what is the style that we're trying to achieve? Does that frustrate you, that?
Frustration is not the right word, because I'm a realistic man.
Yeah.
And so last year when I came in already, you make your adjustment, but it's about, by the end of the day, win games. And for last year, we found a way to make a very, successful team. And this year, we wanted to make the next step. And there we brought in a keeper who can outplay from the back. We brought in a dynamic midfielder with Mason Mount, but also he's injured. And we brought in an extra goal scorer with Rasmus Højlund, with young, and we know we needed the time. And then on forehand, we were quite confident. We made the right choices here, and we can make a next step. But of course, when all the injuries are coming, and we had made so many changes, and also on some key positions, like in the back four. We played now 47 games, and we had 30 combinations in the back four, and that were not combinations or based on choices you made. No, often forced choices because the players were injured. We had 8 centre halves. You can almost not imagine it, but everyone knows who has, say, a little bit knowledge about football. They will know, have a huge impact. And then Casemiro was for a long period was injured. So we had so many issues in the team that you can't play always the way you want to play, and that affects. But no one cares about. Fans don't care about. What the fans will see is a successful team. It's a team that's winning. And what we always try to do, and I have to make, I think, compliment to the team. In every game they went for it. They had a spirit, and we make the adjustments a little bit in our way of play, because when you don't have the left-footed as in the centre-back position, and on the left side, the left fullback position, you have to make adjustments in the way you want to play. When you don't have that strategist in the midfield position, you have to make adjustments, and so we did. And there you still can see we are not there where we want to be, not from the way we want to play, but the headlines, they are still there because we want to go proactive, and we want to go dynamic. And also we want to play with a high line. And that is what we always aim for. And there you see also this team, not there where we want to be, but we have made some improvements. We score much more goals after the break, after the winter break. And also we were more consistent. We don't have so many defeats in 24, and we've only 3 defeats. We draw too much. What we can do very good is to put ourselves in a winning position, but then of course you have to draw to bring it over the line. But then, I go back to my previous point. When you have so many changes in the back four, the rules and principles they are stay, but the patterns are just not there. And there, we don't bring the results, and we know that first place by ourselves.
All the injuries are in 2 positions mainly. Left back and centre back have been the biggest problems, particularly in the last few months. Do you know why? Is there any patterns? I mean, you're a detail, you'll know this. Are there any patterns of why players are picking up the injuries? So all the left backs have been injured and the centre backs. So you've been decimated completely in the defence. Do you know why that is? Is there any explanation for it you can think of?
Of course, we do research, but a lot also has to do with just bad luck.
Just bad luck.
And of course, when you are in a season, the results are not going in a particular way. You will always see you get more and you pick up more injuries than in a season where everything go right. But and that is how we always have seen this. We are still there in the season, and we have 4 games to go, and we have a cup final to play. And again, we see players are returning, and so that gives us a good mood into those four next games, and also into that cup final.
I wanted to ask you about, you answered the question maybe last season actually about, you were asked about, your team at Ajax were one of the most beautiful teams to watch, the way they played football were amazing, but you said you couldn't play that style here. And it always interested me that, thinking about, because when Louis van Gaal came to Manchester United, he played a style that was, I would say, very Ajax, Barcelona style. Why could you not bring that style here? Why did you feel like you couldn't play the style in terms of the same style?
Because then you have to bring in players. So then you need a budget.
Recruitment.
In the recruitment, you need the players with those typical assets, and you can't bring a player, say, who is here, who has a typical style of play, and I don't want to change his nature. And
so Frankie de Jong would have been allowed you more to play this style maybe if he'd have been brought in a couple of years ago.
That would have been Frankie de Jong and Casemiro, and they would really be connected with each other. They will be really complementary with each other, absolutely. But that is a typical play. If you want to play the Ajax style, you need that type of player.
Just in terms of I wanted to ask you this about, I think there's something like 600 shots have gone in on the Manchester United goal, and that is the one thing that when I watch, I think I can comment on with some sort of level of understanding. Obviously I was a defender, and there's a couple of things. One is the wide players when they're defending. For me, I don't see at times them work hard enough back. You know, I think when I was a fullback, I needed my wide players to come back in and be connected to me, but also connected in midfield. And then the other one is that sometimes Casemiro becomes isolated in midfield with space either side of him. Can you just talk to us a little bit about that in terms of the detail? Because for me, when I look at it, obviously the back four is a problem because it doesn't push up so much because it changes a lot, etc. But Casemiro being isolated and the wide players not connecting back in, is that something that you look at and think what they're doing? Or is that something that, why is that happening? Because there have been too many shots on the goal. Just you know that obviously.
Yes, I see the stats. It's clear, and I already we talked about the many changes in the back four. So one thing is, last season with that consistent back four, and we did the same. And we had the most clean sheets from the whole Premier League. And so if everyone is fit, they can bring it and they can deliver the way we want to defend. But it also has to do something with the possession. And then I go again, when you don't have the players from the back who are, and in the patterns, when you don't have that left-footed players on the left side, already you have to make your adjustments, but change the way of play, but change also your possession. And when you have less possession, also you will concede more shots, obviously. So there are some reasons for why this happens, and but I don't think it has anything to do with the way of play we want to play, because that proves last season where we had the most clean sheets in the whole Premier League.
Have you thought about changing, about going more pragmatic, more defensive, maybe 4-5-1, 4-4-2, playing a little bit lower, not pushing as high? You understand, because obviously the wide players play high, Rasmus plays high, you have Bruno and Kobe sometimes that will push on to the... Do you think sometimes, have you thought about maybe bringing them back because the back four is changing, or do you think, no, I have to carry on playing the same way?
Of course, we thought about this, but that's exactly the point. And so one of my objectives, one of my task was here to bring in a proactive way of play. And the players will return. So if you then adjust and going in a very defensive style, it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit to the players we already have. If we then don't get the results, then everyone will lose the confidence. Yeah. And when the players are back, you have to return back to the proactive, and you have lost many time. Yeah. And in the same time, you see in the proactive style, we improved our attacking game. We scored more goals, and we were more consistent. Let's say we are the team in 24. We have only 3 defeats, and there you see we're making improvements. Not enough, and once again, we know that. We know what the demands and the standards are, and we want to get back to wins. So we have to make the next step. We put ourselves in a winning position, but then we have to bring it over the line. So
sometimes in games I'm watching, you must be going through like this, because sometimes you're watching, you must think they're playing really well, and then all of a sudden they'll have 20 minutes like this, and you think, what's happened? Are you like that on the touchline sometimes, thinking, what's just happened? I mean, obviously Coventry's probably the biggest example of that in the last 20 minutes against Coventry, but in other games it's been like that. So why is there such a fluctuation sometimes in games? How do you analyse that as a coach? Is that the immaturity of the team, or what do you think that is?
Yeah, but then we return to the same arguments. It's like you need that consistent back four. You need that consistent team, especially in this stage of the season, to bring that consistent performance in. And I see that. The positive thing is, as you say, we can play in high levels. So the potential is in this team, and now we have to get more mature as a team, and even when not all the players are on board, that we bring this consistency, and that is what we have to aim for, and also to do with some young players. And we brought young players, and there's always with young players that they have to learn how to bring consistent performances. But same answer. They need the experience, and they only get the experience by playing the games. And if they have the potential, they will grow. They will pick it up, and on the long term, we will learn and how to do this.
In the last few weeks, I've noticed that in the media normally, you're usually quite guarded. You answer the questions, but you come in and in the last 2-3 weeks, you've been a little bit more proactive, a bit more aggressive. Would you agree with that? Not aggressive. I think aggressive is the wrong word. Assertive. Is that approach something that you've thought about, that you feel like you need to defend your position? Because obviously the last...
That's not about me.
They're just annoying you, are they? We're annoying you.
No, also, but I have to to protect the team
Yeah.
against which some unfairnesses, and they only, and once again we can accept this. We know the standards, and we are in the first place. We are not happy with this season, but also we know still, we can win a cup this season.
Yeah.
So stay positive in that perspective. We have games to go, and we feel players are returning.
What are the unfairnesses that you see?
So everything is judged negative, and but as I tried to say, so in attacking game we improved during the cross of the season. There are some young players are improving a lot, and that is then unfair to tell that everything is poor and bad, and also the young players, they need time to get to their best levels, but that they have the potential. That is what they show in this season. So that is the positive. And now, we need a consistent team, and when we have that, we are confident. We bring in more wins.
Do you feel like the whole season comes down to the cup final in terms of where you're at now? Do you feel like is that how you're thinking about? I know you have a few league games left, but obviously, is the whole sort of success of this season for you the cup final?
No, we have two opportunities. First of all, we have to defend our position in the league, so that is one focus point, obviously. Yeah. And then the second, of course, we go twice in 2 years. We go into a FA Cup final, which is, I would say, it's a great opportunity to win a cup again. And Manchester United didn't play so often, twice in 2 years in an FA Cup final, and especially not in the last 10 years. So for this group of players, it's a great opportunity, and we have to take this opportunity.
Do you feel like with INEOS coming in that like everybody's under scrutiny? There was a report this morning in the newspaper, and it was quite a strong report, so it was like one that lots of them had about. Every player is for sale. You'll have seen that, I imagine. Where does that come from?
But how many lines you have seen?
This was quite sometimes.
But how many I have seen when I put all the lines. I think I will. I think that I can bring up 1,000 lines who are all untrue, and this is one of them.
That you have the belief in the players. I mean, it seemed a strong story in terms of sort of like,
No, but when I just tell you that we have young, talentful players, that would be when I now tell you the opposite, and that doesn't connect.
What message do you have for Manchester United fans about where you are personally and where the team are, and what they should think about in the next few weeks, but also the next few years? Why should they be confident that something is going to happen, that we're going to get back to being Premier League title winners in the next 2 or 3 seasons?
First of all, that they know we are disappointed as well, and I think they know we are frustrated as well. I think everyone here, and we are there in the same boat, but we know also, and that also even this season we have shown in games that we can also achieve high levels, that we can level the top teams, and when everyone is on board, when we have the squad available, and then we can form a team who is strong and who compete with the best teams. And if we can make the next steps in the transfer window, then we can step up to high levels. And we are quite confident. We are in that process, and we are quite confident we will achieve that.
Erik, it's great to speak to you, and all the best for the rest of the season,
You're welcome.
in the final.
Okay.
Good luck.